Good afternoon, Rose. How you doing? You well?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm blessed. Always, never a complaint. All the better for talking to you, though. We caught up a couple of years ago. Well, I say a couple of years ago. It's 4 years ago. And how time has flown. You are the CEO, founder, owner of ScreenHits, a streaming service with a bit of a difference. I like to think. I like to say. But I'll let you explain all about that. For those who are watching and catching Rose on their screen or listening for the first time, we covered this journey because there weren't many Black women in the space doing what Rose does. Rose, you want to explain, embellish on what it is that you've actually done thus far, and then we'll get into the good stuff?
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, so ScreenHits TV, it's I've been on this journey for a long time, since 2012. It's a media-based company, and originally started off as a B2B marketplace for the buying and selling of TV content. And then the company kind of organically shifted into a consumer product about 4 years ago, where consumers would be able to add all of their streaming apps like Netflix, Disney, Prime Video, Peacock, Paramount Plus, etc., BBC into one app, which saves everyone time from having to open up one app and search and then another one. So it kind of just created like a new experience for television consumption. And so that's what ScreenHits TV is, and it's been morphing into a lot of different things, and we've been very blessed and fortunate as a company to move into automotive, which I'm happy to talk to you about as we get into our chat.
Well, that was exactly what I wanted to speak to you about, because when I got wind of the deal, I thought to myself, it's a seismic effort on your part, not least because you're a fledgling organization in the grand scheme of things. But because there were some big players who were vying for the contract that you ultimately won, right? And that's a contract with a car manufacturer, but a global contract, right? Speak on it for me.
Yeah, so it was really tough. We were launching this consumer product, which we put a lot of effort in without really any institutional investment. So as you're aware, female business owners get less than 1% of venture capital funds, which is something that's really needed to launch and grow a corporate company, a global consumer corporate company. And we struggled with that. And women of African descent get even less. So I really was trying to figure out what I was going to do without being able to raise that investment. And we decided to take whatever we had left and just really put it into our product. And by building that product as best as we could, we got noticed by a really large car company, which was Porsche. And when they kind of approached us, we were kind of thrown off. We weren't in cars. TV wasn't in cars. And Porsche was really like leading the way in innovation and having a TV screen on the passenger side in the front row. And that was really exciting. And we were an app before. We weren't really hardware. And so this opportunity that came to us was, we want you to be the launcher. We want you to be the access point to access all the video, all streaming content, everything in our vehicles globally. And that was in 4 models. It was in the 911, Taycan, Panamera, and Cayenne. And there was other big players up for it, from Amazon to Apple, TiVo. And we were such a small company in the UK, but we worked really hard with their team. And I said, you know what? Let me build you a proof of concept. I'll just build it for you for the cars. And we took a huge risk, and we put everything that we had into it. So if it didn't work, we would have probably not been here today. But the whole team just got behind it, and they awarded it to us in the end. And that was the very first car deal. And that really kind of shaped the future for us. And we really kind of shifted and focused on being that access point for all content in these cars. And we won more car deals after that. So that's exciting.
So how was that in terms of you pivoting from where your focus was before to take full advantage of this opportunity? Talk about how the next couple of years look like, or just the next 12 months, because I can imagine there's a lot.
And I wouldn't say, and I always would say it pivoted, right? But we didn't really change it. Like, we kind of organically grew in there. It's just like, how do we find customers? How do we get consumers to subscribe and to pay for this new service without having millions, hundreds of millions in marketing budget? So when we partnered with Porsche, that really just created a whole new opportunity for us. And the next few years was, let's just build the best product that we can build. We were entering automotive. It's a completely different industry. And because of that partnership, we were approached by Ford, Lincoln Navigator, the Ford Expedition and Aviator and also more, but on, can we also have your product? And we kind of had to even like look and shift differently our technology, because from building an app was one thing, but all of a sudden being part of the entire software system of a car. So you have like your navigation, you have your weather. Now you have video streaming, which is ScreenHits TV. And it was really working to understand the hardware and a lot of other areas. So the team had to really quickly adjust for this new market. And so that just really changed, because we went from this company constantly begging investors to believe in our ideas, to believe in what we want to do, to all of a sudden having these huge deals with these major companies and being part of a huge brand that kind of has said this is the best product for in-car entertainment, and that we're launching with them and adjusting to that, which happened really overnight. It was like this long kind of road like this to that. And so it's changed.
So talk about, other car manufacturers that you want to secure. We talk things into existence over here, Rose. So let's speak about some of those other players in the market that you want to work with.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been, so we can announce, we've signed on with NIO, which is a really amazing Chinese electric brand, and they're in Europe and they're growing. They kind of compete with Tesla, and we're in there on the front screen in all their markets. And then we've also recently signed Renault, and we're in the Grand Coleos, and this is like a really fun project for me as well, because they're going into Africa. And they are distributing in, I think, 8 countries in Africa. We're also in South Korea and in Europe and the Middle East with this brand. So that's exciting. And also Latin America. And we are about to sign, well, we've actually have signed some other really big cars that I can't announce yet because we're under embargo. But it's something that I didn't see coming. I kind of thought it'd be a slow burn because it's been such a slow burn. And then it just really happened. And I remember someone said to me, just keep your head down, keep the product going, quietly go and secure those contracts. And then when you have it locked out, then you can kind of shout about it. And that's what we've been doing the last 4 years. But yeah, I mean, I think we will be in about 60% of cars globally on the front and back screens, the rear seat screens, providing access to all entertainment from gaming to transactional, so like renting premium video that's in theater, to accessing the streamers and great live TV. And so I don't know, it's something that, I still pinch myself about, Joel, because, as a woman of African descent that is part of the future of television and automotive, and having this small startup company in the UK, and having these car companies not really care about anything and just say, we're going to support this product. It's been just an amazing journey.
Yeah, congrats to you, Rose, because even when we first caught up 4 or 5 years ago, we didn't know the pandemic, was going to impact all businesses in the way that it has, some advantageously, some not so much. So when I referenced you pivoting earlier, it was more because I didn't even see you kind of cultivating a lane in this way. So more power to you. But obviously you've touched on kind of how I guess it fits in with your broader scope to just get more people exposed to ScreenHits, right? Your work in Africa, you touched on earlier, it being a special place for you. So speak on the work in Africa and how that dovetails with your other interests away from ScreenHits.
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, I went to Kenya, and it was my first time in like Africa. I mean, I've been to Morocco and stuff, but I went to Kenya, and it was some farmland that my dad had, and it was never developed or anything. And I just went, and I fell in love with I fell in love with it. And it was almost as though everything that I've ever been taught my whole life growing up in the West about Africa was just wrong in every sense of the word. I didn't expect to find beautiful, gorgeous white sand beaches with blue water. I mean, beautiful homes, beautiful people, amazing food, amazing culture, amazing music, such forward thinking cities, innovative cities. I just didn't expect to see it. And I just kind of felt, I remember when I got off the plane in this beautiful airport in Nairobi and going to my lovely hotel and just thinking, I've been lied to my entire life. I couldn't believe it. And I felt, I was kind of like, don't go. People were saying, don't go. It's so dangerous. It's dangerous. And I didn't feel it. I just felt so safe. I felt completely safe. I felt like I was coming home in a way. And when I went out to the bush where I stayed for a bit, and then I saw my dad's, my parents' land there, and I just knew, and I wanted to do so much. It's like there's like this huge, there's this huge growth opportunity happening right now, and so much opportunity, amazing land, amazing soil, everything. And so I decided to develop. And I realized that when I was trying to put water in my farm, the people in the village didn't have any water, and it's like none. And there was about 2,000 people, more or less, in the village, children, parents, and the women, which I didn't realize at the time, they were walking 15 kilometers a day to get water. And so I kind of just felt, well, before I get water, they should have water. And so I did a fundraising campaign. I put in half, and then my other friends raised the rest. And we put water pipes throughout this entire village. Within 6 weeks, 6 weeks they had water. And what that kind of led to was women in the community that came to me and said that they had spent, their whole day really walking 15 kilometers to get water. And now that they have water coming to their homes, they want to do something more to help out and support their families. And I thought that was really incredible. And they want to build a factory for textiles in their community, because they all have amazing skills and doing beads and doing sewing and making uniforms, doing all sorts of different things. And they want to do a training program. And so that's something that I'm helping them to support, and just to see how quick, for money that you would not expect, very little money goes a very long way. And I've just seen this huge shift in people. And a lot of the people in this community, it's a Maasai community. They're the most loving, beautiful people. But education hasn't really been available to them because they've been in survival mode, living in the rural parts of Kenya. And the rural parts are absolutely beautiful. But I wanted to, bring in like a math and science school, because I think that understanding math and science and geology will really help them to continue to grow their land and build their land and take advantage of all the amazing things that are happening there. And so I've gotten involved, and I'm trying to build a school for very young kids to start their math and science journey off early, because obviously, as we all know, you learn those skills at a very early age, you're able to build on those. So that's just some of the things that I'm doing that I love. And the soil is incredible. It's Mount Kenya used to be a volcano. So the soil is rich in like clay and volcanic and rock, and it's on the equator. It's high altitude, so it's quite cold. So it's the perfect place to grow wine, you'd imagine. So I'm gonna try to grow some Kenyan wine.
Oh, you're gonna try and grow some Kenyan wine?
I am. The soil is perfect for it. You look at France, it's too hot. It's too hot. And in Kenya, in the mountain, it's quite cold in the morning and the evening, but quite warm in the sun, and it's quite warm in the day. So the temperatures are absolutely perfect. It gives you like a low alcohol volume with wine, because like I love wine, and now wine has high alcohol volume now because of these hot temperatures. So cooler temperatures give you better, like a lower alcohol volume, and it can give you delicious tasting wines. So we've seen wine in South Africa. We've seen wine growing in Ethiopia. There's a few French wine growers buying up land and trying to create wine there. But I think that it's the right time to try. So I'm going to try, and it's going to also create lots of jobs in the community, which is something that I want to do.
Yet another business, Rose.
Not really. That's a passion of mine, because if nobody buys my wine, then it's something that I will have. You know, I do kind of see Kenyan being this place where there'll be vineyards and wine growing in this region. I mean, it's great. I mean, right now they grow roses, grapes grow amazing in this soil, and it's a new craft. And I just think this is what I love about Africa. There's so much opportunity there, even from like the tech side. And all these new ideas and businesses that we've seen in the West that have grown, they're now kind of getting into it. Like, I don't know if you've been to Kenya, but they have like this amazing app called M-Pesa, where a lot of people do a lot of transactions. And just to see that kind of tech growing there and even more tech coming out, I love it. It's really exciting.
Africa in its entirety is a burgeoning place at the moment, so there's opportunity.
There's so much opportunity. I mean, even like when you look at the Congo, how much lithium they have there, and lithium powers all of our batteries. It's going to power our future. And you know, just even like, you know, so in like the rural parts of Kenya where they have, you know, cattle is really important for a lot of the Maasai. And I met an amazing person who's starting this this whole system where it's going to be like a place to broker the selling of cows, you know, so it's like a stock, you know, for like a stock market in a way, for the brokeraging of cows and or cattle. And it's like going like that. The opportunity is just expanding. I mean, it's not just, you're right, it's not just in Kenya, it's in Nigeria, it's in Rwanda, it's in the Congo, it's in all these places. And, you know, even for ScreenHits, you know, I think, you know, we outsource a lot of tech to a lot of different places. And there's a lot of stuff that we do, from just data maintenance and working with our customers, our content partners, and being able to open up a tech office in Nairobi and work with people and train the youth on how to use technology, how to use, you know, how to get involved in IT and development and coding is going to help tremendously. And I think that that's an area that shouldn't be ignored, especially from like the UK standpoint. You know, Kenya's 2 hours ahead of us, sometimes 1 hour ahead of us. They speak English. Everyone there speaks English perfectly. So it's really good to have Kenya as like a partner or a sub office from tech. So I definitely recommend that everyone looks into investing in key parts of Africa. I mean, the US, Russia, and China are doing it, so we might as well do it ourselves too.
I mean, and have been for a long time. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Rose, with all of that being said, you're a mum too. How's that? How's life away from the business?
I love being a mom. Yeah. I have 2 girls now, 9 and 5. I can't believe how fast the time has gone. And I've been building my business and raising and building a family at the same time, and being a wife and everything. So it's finding that balance. It's you know, wanting to focus, and, you know, as a business owner, you just don't have the time, you know, because you're working until 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, you're tired, you're grouchy because you have all these things you have to do, all this responsibility. And then you see these amazing little kids look at you, play with me, you know, checkers. And then it's like, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, 20, 30 minutes of checkers, or do I get this contract back, which is going to generate a lot? And so it's finding that balance. And I make time to always take my girls to school and pick them up. Even if we get some people to help us, I'm always the one to be there, because I know how fast it goes.
Yes, indeed.
Too fast.
Too fast. I agree with you. Thanks for your time, Rose. Is there anything else you want to share with us before we part ways?
No, I think that's it. But I would love everybody that they haven't to just kind of visit Africa, learn about it, look at it in different ways. It's so surprisingly incredible. And I just know my experience when I went there, I didn't expect to see what I saw. And
when did you go? When did you go?
When I went to Kenya the first time.
When was that?
That was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
So was that the first time you went to Africa, or was it?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I've been to like Morocco, but Morocco has changed.
Yeah.
But that was like my first time.
Right.
And it
So,
just
so
wasn't.
the East and the West and the North, they're very different. So yeah, I get it.
I can imagine they're different, but I would think the West is kind of still similar to the East. I think there's different influences that are going on there. I think you know, there's different things happening. You know, Nigeria has 200 million people, and you know, there's lots of successful like billionaires there, and that country is exploding and doing a lot of amazing things in the financial markets and the tech markets, and there's lots of ambitious people there. But yeah, it's just I just didn't expect to see it, you know, and I just couldn't believe it when I saw it. It's just nothing that I expected. So anyone that's doesn't have a positive view on Africa or doesn't think of it in a certain way, I just challenge them to go there and see it with different eyes.